What's up, everybody? It's Alex from Heavy New York. We are back at Brooklyn Bazaar. Today, we are here with one of New York City's own, Sannhet. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Cheers. Cheers.
It's great to have you here. I know it's been a rough day with the van breaking down. Combined with my allergies, you guys probably have a massive headache. So this episode is brought to you by Advil. You should be all Advil. But your latest record is So Numb, which is a very beautiful record. How was the recording for it and everything been?
Thanks.
What was the question?
How was the recording for So Numb?
How was the recording?
It was definitely one of the more methodical, sane things we've ever done, I think. We recorded with Peter Catus, who did Interpol, Turn on the Bright Lights, and The National, and stuff like that. So it's kind of a curveball for a band like ours to record with him, but he's such a Zen Buddhist monk that it really chilled us all out, and we had a lot of time to really explore the studio space. I don't know, John?
Yeah, it was, it was really nice to get out of town and kind of spend some time up there just, working with somebody who's got a different perspective and a totally different space for us.
Absolutely. Now, to me, you guys have a very distinct sound when it comes to instrumental, heavier music. Like a lot of people, when they hear instrumental, heavier music, they think of like a band like Animals as Leaders, I feel, or something like that. But you guys have your own distinct sound. Do you guys have a preconceived idea when writing music, or is there a lot of improv involved?
No improv. No improv. It's just all organic for the most part.
Yeah, it's not improv. I think that you mentioned a band like Animals as Leaders. It's like kind of the opposite of what we do, where like a lot of instrumental bands, because they're instrumental, want to try to play as many notes and make things as like technical as possible. And I think that we, even though we're instrumental, still try to focus on texture and like feeling and vibe more than, insane technical proficiency. I don't know. It's just not really our goal is to show off like that.
Okay. Do you guys have to like start off with a certain rhythm and then everything else kind of goes over that, or do you like have to hear like a specific riff? Or
Yeah, a lot of times now it starts almost with AJ and I, just drums and bass. So we'll we'll jam on some stuff, and then afterwards a lot of times John just adds guitars and all of his like textural layers and everything like that onto the track.
Yeah.
So
More often than not, though, Chris will like text me a voice message and it'll be like, pa 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 pa. He's like, do something. And then that's how a song will be. Like, yeah. Chris will have an idea, or we'll come up with a theme or a concept for a way to approach a phrase. And I know that sounds intellectual and nerdy, and we're very much not that kind of band, that nerdy band, but it'll be like an idea. Let's try this thing, and we'll build the entire song around a concept.
Yeah, it's kind of like these guys a lot of times will build like the bones and, like the real kind of structure and like the rhythmic, what's going on. And then I kind of come in and try to paint like the broad strokes to like just, I don't know, I guess tie it all together or fill the spaces or both. I don't know.
Very interesting. Now, when I listen to your music, I do hear a lot of different emotions in it. Like, it definitely captures a mood depending on the song I'm listening to. Despite not having lyrics, do you guys have like a message that you have in your music?
I mean, that's kind of the responsibility of the listener to interpret it for themselves. It's the same way you would read your horoscope. It's a ubiquitous prescription they give you, but you can apply it to your life. And that's kind of, I mean, if I told you what the song's meant to me, then it would mean that. That's the reason we don't have any lyrics. It's like if the song has lyrics and the song's about that. But if something can be interpreted from it and it's poignant to you, then it could be anything, really. So I mean, that's really what should be gleaned from the music.
Yeah, I think for us that's like actually like that kind of not having a specific theme is like part of the theme, where it's like, whatever it means to you, like what do these images mean, like what do these sounds mean, and of course everybody, we have, we've spoken about it, and there's certain things there's themes that sometimes we think it means, but I think that really it's more about, trying to kind of, whoever's hearing it, like the listener's mind will kind of interpret it in the way that they see it. Some people hear it as being uplifting and other people hear it as being sad and depressing, so it's kind of just, You know?
Which is very interesting because I've heard a lot of bands with vocals and lyrics say, oh, we want to leave this song open to interpretation, but it seems like it's kind of hard. They're saying something, you have to make sense out of it, but it seems like your music is really open to interpretation.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. That's the point of anybody who tells you that they want you to take it for what it is when they have specific lyrics or like make your own thing out of it, they're full of shit. They had a complete agenda. That's bullshit. Our music is really, literally just meant to be in like completely open, wide open, and interpreted like you would a tarot reading or a horoscope.
Absolutely. Now, it's fair to say your music is very experimental, but you guys also at the same time do have your own sound. So I was curious, in the songwriting process, is there more experimentation involved, or being that this is what, like your third or fourth record, you have a formula that you work with?
I know the guys might disagree, but I don't even think we're that experimental. When I think of experimental, I think of like Liars, and they like all play different instruments on every album, and they try to like use underwater microphones and electrocute them and make these weird sounds. We're really just kind of more experimenting with each other, like how far we could push each other to restrain or.
Yeah, it's funny. To me, I feel like it's like we're a rock band. You know, I don't know. I guess it's experimental in that context, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't feel like we're trying to like experiment in that way. I mean, and to answer your question more specifically, I think, yeah, now that we're on our, it's like our third LP. It's not that we have a formula, but we definitely, like there's certain things, I've got, there's like the loopers with the guitars, and we've got samples that, that Chris is triggering, and we try to push that with each record. But I do think that we have kind of come up with our own language, our own vocabulary now that kind of has its own life, I think.
Interesting. And one thing that I find remarkable is that the first time I saw you guys was on your show with Baroness, which was, I can't believe it's been almost a year now.
Wow.
But I was really taken by your live shows with the lights and everything, and seeing pictures and stuff. Was this like an imagery that you guys developed from listening to your own music, or was that always an idea that you guys wanted to do in your live performance?
You look like you were.
I think
Yeah. So Chris and John were a two-piece before I joined the band, and it was truly actually experimental. Then they did a lot of noise experiments and like a lot of really interesting things. Like on one of the things that they did, the whole thing was recorded from a microphone that was in a cabinet that was being closed slowly. Like they did a lot of experimental stuff. When I joined the band, they were starting to cusp into their rock phase. And when I started playing with them, I was like, this is so intense, but like there's nothing for anybody to look at on stage. I was like, we should like, guys, hear me out. Let's just try doing just one floodlight, and we'll just turn the floodlight on during the heavy parts so everybody knows when it's time, and then we'll turn it off. And they were apprehensive, and eventually we did that, and that turned into 10 lights and projections. And
He also wanted to do vocals, but we said no.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yeah, basically.
Good idea.
Well, we were just teasing.
Once you get vocals, I'm just going to say you guys sold out.
We were just joking about that earlier. Like I used to, like this band we're playing with, Self Defense Family. They talk a lot in between the songs, and one show, there was a microphone left on my side of the stage, and I started talking in between every song, and that was basically the last time.
No, it was the last time that ever happened
on stage. Yeah.
You guys made sure not to have a microphone.
Yeah,
Well,
no
now
way.
Chris has the microphone, and he says one thing at the end, and that's kind of it.
Now, when AJ did join the band, did that maybe allow you guys to bring in some newer elements that you never used before?
Yeah, for sure. I think that before I was kind of handling the bass, like the bass and the melody, and like at the same time. So as soon as we had somebody who could actually play bass, not only did it, free me to be able to, think more about just the actual melody and the notes, but then even in the writing, it's just like it added another dimension that wasn't there before. So I think it kind of was like when the band came into its own, really.
Yeah, just his style and the way that he approaches like songwriting is different than the way John and I would write together. So just combining like that third element is pretty much like what you hear from us today, So.
Which is awesome. And the final question I'd like to have, because you guys are from New York, so this is something that I'm you know, I always like interviewing the bands from New York. We just interviewed Agnostic Front. But in the term of the New York City metal scene where you guys started, was it kind of easier with your style to kind of, because the music scene here is fantastic, did you guys like have a scene that you networked in before you branched out, or were you one of those bands that kind of needed to play outside your city in order to
No,
get...
I mean St Vitus bar. It's all St Vitus bar. We were friends with all those guys, you know, when they first opened up, and
Shout out to Dave and Artie.
yeah, and we, you know, before we really knew them, we hung out there, and then we kind of met them through that, and we kind of got on, you know, some shows there. Some of our, you know, early shows there were like we played with Altar of Plagues and some other stuff. So it's like a kicking off point, and then after that, we played there so many times with so many cool bands that came through, and I think that became sort of like, you know, our spot. I think people joked about us being the like house band there for a while, so it was kind of like our scene for sure. And yeah, I think people were really receptive to it, even though we're like
They put out our first record too.
yeah, that is true.
Like,
they
they made a label
that is
just to
true.
put out our first record.
Yeah,
Like,
and
they were
it's like-
major supporters
And
of us. From
yeah,
the
and for like a you know, that bar, it's like a lot of people associate it with more of like a classically kind of metal vibe. You know, it's not necessarily like that weird or whatever, but I don't know. Somehow,
I've
yeah,
seen some pretty weird shit
yeah, I
there.
just mean like I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have thought that that a band like us would come out of a place like that, but I guess it did. So I mean, that's kind of it.
It seems like St. Vitus is like at that point like kind of like the new CBGBs in terms of legacy wise, you know what I mean?
Listen, don't make Dave Castillo.
Yeah,
float- he's
you
gonna
might make
float
those guys
away
get a
in
little
the
too
air.
excited.
Yeah.
I love you, Dave.
Love you, Dave.
Yeah, no.
Cool it.
It's
Bump
not the new
play.
CBGBs. It's just St. Vitus bar. So.
Yeah, it's St. Vitus. It's its own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's its own thing.
Yeah.
So before we go, I want to thank you guys so much for your time with the van troubles and everything. I'd imagine it was a beautiful day, right?
It was a beautiful
Yeah, we haven't quite solved the problem yet, so
Yeah, we'll get there.
let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But now that So Numb is almost a year old, can we be expecting anything new from the Sannhet Army?
Yes, but we.
I'm not really talking about it right
yeah,
now, but
not-
yes.
In terms of touring, or you have a couple...
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean,
touring, but
it's going to be happening ongoing for a long time. Yeah, we're going to be doing stuff forever.
yeah,
Yeah, or until
yeah, we're
Chris
not
kills me.
stopping. We're not shutting down anytime soon.
Yeah,
Good. Hope to see you guys play again after tonight.
cool.
Yeah. But thanks, guys, again for so much for your time.
Yeah, man.
Everybody, we are here with Sannhet at Brooklyn Bazaar. Pick up their latest record, So Numb. If you haven't already, this is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.